Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of FPL Backbenchers. This is your host Somnath. Hope you guys have been doing well and it has been a great week for FPL. Today I'm joined by my co-host Anjan. Anjan, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
Had a good
Oh,
week?
he's not doing. I don't think Shomnath is doing very well, especially after the result that Arsenal got against Chelsea. But yes, he scored good, so I'm sure from an FPL point of view, he would be happy.
Let's keep the pod to FPL guys. I mean, let's not get into Arsenal. This will become another pod totally. Again, I also am joined by my co-host Ronojoy. Ronojoy, how are you doing? Been a fantastic week.
Like,
FPL wise, let's not get into our teams again.
oh my gosh, like you, I am dejected because of what United did. But I
Hmm,
had a decent game week, so I can't complain.
understandable. Before getting into our teams and our game week points, I would like to mention that all the stats taken in this particular podcast are from Fantasy Football Hub. So if you guys want to check it out, it's an amazing website. They have an amazing app as well. Do check it out. Also, another thing, I think Ronoja and we were discussing, and Anjan also knows about this. We have a very special announcement at the end of the pod, right? So please stay tuned. We will be mentioning something very special that we are about to do next week, right? Also, guys, if you like our content, please like and subscribe, right? It helps us a lot. Especially do like our video. It helps us get found. Anyways, let's get straight away into our game week points. Uh, and we'll start with Anjan's team. So why don't you take it up, Anjan?
Well,
79
my
points, huh?
team, yeah, my
Not
team
bad.
scored 79%. Well, the star of this week was obviously two West Ham boys, Antonio and Benrama.
They have been
Apart
in
from that,
amazing form.
yeah, yeah, very much. And apart from that, I had Trent Alexander-Arnold, I had Simakas, I had Shaw, and in my midfield I had Fernandes, Salah, Barnes, and Grealish. And my other forward was Wilson. So overall, I had a very nice game week, FPL wise. What about
Good.
you
I mean,
people?
I think that's a game week rank of almost 400k, which is brilliant for any given game week. I mean, I think if we all achieve 400k game week in a particular week for the entire season, we'll be ranked number one in FPL, right? So all in all, a good week.
Yeah, hope so.
Semika's doing the goods for you guys, right? I think Ronja also have him. Yeah, let's look into his team now.
Yeah, I also do have Simicas. I did not buy into the Liverpool three players getting blocked due to Simicas.
Hmm.
I actually was hoping that Simicas would continue for a bit longer, but now I see that Robertson is back training and he should probably be starting for against Chelsea. We will
Not
see that
sure,
in the
right?
press
I mean, he
conferences.
has not trained or he has not been part of any match. Might be or might not be as well.
Yeah, Simicas is
From
doing well, and I do not expect him to play this game week. But sorry, I do expect him to. I am not playing him in my 11 this game week from an FPL point of view.
yeah, it doesn't make
So,
sense playing Chelsea.
so that is the reason I am not too worried. I'm just looking at the right option, right moment to sell Simicas and get that point advantage. In terms of my team, my template guys did as much as everyone's. My captain Bruno, I was so happy that Salah did nothing, but then Bruno also, trumped him, if you can say that. In terms of non-template players, I had Sar, who also did not contribute much. I am still okay not having Benrama along with Antonio because I think when both of the when West Ham is going to blank, both of them are going to blank. But let's see, that's a different discussion. Overall, pretty okay with the game week. After Salah blanked, I was hoping for a little more score from Bruno Fernandes. But yeah, hopefully he'll compensate this game week. What about you, Shomnath?
I
How did
think
you go?
with me, we complete the trifecta of 70 plus scores for this particular pod. I also, much like my friend Anjan, has scored 79 points for the game week. Major point givers definitely was Trent giving 12 points for me. The double up of West Ham again coming doing the goods. Benrahma and Antonio. Never doubted them. They were my
That's hurting
preseason pick,
me.
and yeah, you must be itching and thinking. I mean, it's the similar scenario I had faced last season when Lingard was consistently doing, and I was not part of that. So I'm glad that this time at least I'm part of that. Uh,
Oh my
Good
gosh,
thing for
you're
me is,
good.
uh, I mean, I'll start with the bad thing first, rather. Bad thing for me is my triple up was not Tsimikas of Liverpool, so that was a huge chunk of 11 points that I had missed. Good thing for me is I am probably one of the very few people whose captaincy actually clicked for the game week. I had Mane as my captain, and
Oh yeah, that's a good. That
at
was a
that
very good
point
choice
I
at the
felt
end.
that that was a huge advantage. But eventually, what how it turned out, it just stopped any losses for me. I mean, I probably gained the same point as everybody did, but my captain working out actually did that in my favor, and my rank did not fall even further. Right. So that's about our game week. Let's get into the highlights of the game week, and it was an exciting week of football in Premier League. Right. So Ronajay, why don't you kick us off with the highlights of the game week and how it went?
Most definitely. I think the first game was Liverpool versus Burnley.
Yeah.
I was expecting Burnley to hold Liverpool off. I was not expecting a big scoreline, and luckily or unluckily for me, it came true. And Salah did not do anything, so I was very happy at that point of time. Simicast did extremely well. Both Liverpool's fullbacks were playing very high up, like they do when Robertson and Tar plays. And Tar seems to be back. I think he had 7 key passes in the whole game week. So definitely something, definitely worth keeping, because a lot of people would be thinking about selling Tar and bringing Robertson. Maybe if they do not have Simicast, they just get to save a zero point 0.5 budget there, because all the big hitters are on the front line. But Tar is definitely one of those which I intend to keep going forward. In terms of Burnley's assets, I saw that Loughton was playing as much as farther like Trent Arnold. So when I want to take Burnley assets when the game fixtures improve, that is Loughton is someone I'll keep my eyes on. All in all, a decent scoreline for Liverpool. 2-0 is a good win at home after playing at home after such a long time. Good.
I would
What do
like
you
to
think,
add to
Somnath?
this. I mean, interestingly, you pointed out about Ta. I mean, I did not expect a very huge scoreline. The traditional scoreline of Liverpool versus Burnley has been 3-0. Interesting thing about Ta is, I feel his chance creation has gone up even further. I mean, he had two big chances in this particular game itself. Plus, and it is not just crosses that he is doing. I mean, especially the goal for my captain Mane, that actually came from the center of the field. So he is doing a lot of through balls, right, wherein he is being more actively involved in the midfield play, right? And even Tsimikas, I mean, kudos to him, kudos to his owners for getting him. He has done, I think, a brilliant job in the absence of Robertson. His stats were like brilliant for this particular game as well, right? He had an assist for the Jota goal as well that Liverpool scored first. Mane in particular were also well, and Liverpool in general. I mean, they are creating huge number of shots. They are the league leaders in that right now, right? So all in all, they are looking really good. Anything to add, Anjan, to this, or we can move on to the next one?
So I nothing much to add. I feel Liverpool fullbacks are packed.
Absolutely,
I feel, yeah.
no doubt about it.
So like, hmm,
And
Unfortunately,
I'll also
but yeah,
say
they seem to be
for
back.
Salah
There is
owners,
also a meme going over the.
yeah, sure.
Sorry.
Go, no. I was just stating. You continue.
No, what I was saying is there is a meme going on in Twitter that Robertson seems to be a very good Simicast backup. The Simicast is really doing very well. I hope he plays a couple
Right.
of more games so that his price rises. But I
He has
think
done exceptionally well. I
other
must
than
say.
that, not much to cover from the Liverpool game. It was as expected by most guys. Uh, shall we move on to the next game, which was I think Villa versus Newcastle?
Yeah, absolutely. Just before moving on, I will just like to add on. Salah did not look traditionally like he would not score. I mean, to be very honest, he was very unlucky. He actually scored and it got called offside. So Salah captainers and Salah owners should not be deterred by it. He looked absolutely on point, right? And that's something I wanted to say. Yeah. Moving on.
Our friend Anjan is doing some silly business with his camera. I can see, but I think we should move on.
Yeah.
Okay, the next game was Villa versus Newcastle.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, what was the score line like? It was 2-0,
2
right?
nil to
To
Villa.
Villa.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I just remembered. Ings scored, and the second goal also was taken off him. I was hoping
Remember
that
the
Ings would
throw
take the
in of Matty
penalty.
Cash? The length of the throw
Oh,
in?
yeah, and what a beautiful goal. Probably definitely one of the contenders for the goal of the season. Uh,
Definitely. I mean,
and you,
Villa, in that sense, they are a team who have, before the season started, they have hired a set piece coach for this particular purpose. And Ings was interestingly questioned about this post match as well, wherein he said that we won't, I don't want to be giving away our state secrets, but that's something that we have been working on. And they have eventually identified that set piece is a huge part of the game today. And whatever edge you can give yourself as a team, it's there. I mean, and it definitely shows this eventually scored. Yeah, you were about to
absolutely.
share something about the match, your observation about the match.
Yeah, I think for Newcastle, for Villa, El Ghazi was the farthest up front. So we do expect him to take the penalties when he is on the pitch and he's playing even further than Ings. So when in the team, he's a good option. But with Traore back and the other players back, I do not think El Ghazi is going to be a consistent face on the pitch, at least in the starting 11. He would definitely come as a sub and make good substitutes. I mean, good impact. I hope whatever penalties Villa they do get before he comes on, so that at least Ings get to take them.
But
In terms of
it's clear to us,
Newcastle,
right? Like, so El Ghazi is definitely the franchise penalty taker. Oh, and the last
yeah,
week,
yeah,
the penalty was just given to give Ings his debut goal for Villa. That's how I felt, man, because he
correct.
took the penalty when El Ghazi
No,
was on
yeah.
the pitch, right?
I think El Ghazi was also taking penalties for them last year, so it's
Yeah, yeah,
just a
yeah.
continuation.
He has 100%
And in
record.
terms of Yes, and in terms of Newcastle, what I saw was that Saint Maximin was playing, very high up the pitch. Because I am not a very huge fan of stats. I do not have the time to go by stats. One of the things that I do look is who is playing mostly up front or the farthest up front. And in terms of Newcastle, I saw that Saint Maximin is still the man who is playing high up the pitch, even in front of Wilson. So he's definitely one of the players I am looking at. But obviously, with so many big players around, he is not in my list at this moment.
Uh,
Anjan, anything to
another,
add on this?
yeah,
Yeah,
what I
I
would
would
like
say,
to add. Oh, sorry, Anjan. Yeah,
yeah. I just wanted to say Villa were very lucky not to concede actually.
absolutely.
Wilson was
I agree.
Villa were very lucky enough not to concede.
I think
Wilson was
I
quite
think
a
that has been a trend since last season. The end of the last season, Newcastle has been a strong side, and they are taking that momentum forward. So probably they should have scored. The two nil scoreline is a little uh,
Well, what I
you know
think Anjan means
little
is by being unlucky is, I mean, Newcastle were really unlucky because I thought the VAR call on the Wilson penalty decision, I definitely, at least on real time play, it definitely looked like a penalty. Emi Martinez, that is an unbelievable foul from him. I don't know why it was not given a penalty, which was felt very stupid at the time. But this has happened twice with Newcastle now. I mean, even in the West Ham game, they had a penalty claim which they did not get. So, I mean, in that sense, I think definitely Villa are lucky to have kept their clean sheet. Another point I'll add, because it's an interesting discussion that is going on in the community right now about what to do with Danny Ings and what to do with Wilson. I will say Danny Ings, I mean, congratulations to his owners. You have got 2 goals back to back. But barring that goal in this particular match, he had no shot on target, right? That was his only shot on target, and he converted that. So it probably might be due to the fact that the team has not gelled as of yet, right? But then again, Danny Ings getting returns after returns, that also has a little bit of variance to it. Just keep that in mind,
Uh,
right?
in my point, Danny Ings is a player who does get a lot of goals, and with Watkins coming in and all the rest of the players coming in, I'm sure he's going to score more. I
Yeah,
think his fixtures take a bad turn in a couple of game weeks.
from game
So I
week
am
4.
definitely so I am definitely one of them who's planning to move him out. But let's see. I hope I do not regret the decision.
Okay, moving on to
If
Crystal Palace and Brentford.
Oh my gosh, one game from which I was expecting Tony to break his deadlock in the Premier League in this season, but again nothing. Very interestingly, I did say that Brentford is one of the teams who are going to score, who are going to get concede a lot of goals, because we saw that against Arsenal, that they conceded a lot of shots. But yeah, Brentford is still doing good. Maybe it's the beginner's luck for Brentford at this moment, 0-0. 3 points and then 1 point. Good start for Brentford, I guess. Not more to cover, at least from my side.
I would just like to add, like, as far as 0-0 goes, I mean, this was not a boring 0-0 by any stand. What I would say regarding, I mean, it was a brilliant debut for Conor Gallagher for Crystal Palace, who has come from West Brom. He and Embuemo, I think both of them hit either the post or the bar, right? So they were
Yes,
unlucky.
yes, yes.
But the interesting thing is, I understand that Brentford have kept back-to-back clean sheet, and people might be looking at their assets. And I think defender had a price rise as well. I will still say that they're very lucky not to concede right now, because uh, Palace was not at full strength, and yet the fact that they dominated Brentford in the match is something that people need to be wary about. My observation also was Embuemo is probably the best asset from Brentford if to own. I do own Tony myself, much like many people, but I think Embuemo would be the better choice. He's on most test pieces. He takes corners. He is the farthest up as well. Right. The only negative point about him is he gets subbed
I think
before the 90 minutes mark, and he does not have penalties in his locker. But I think that 1 million could go a long way.
I think one of the reasons why I see Brentford is still a team to target if you're playing against them is because they are playing a very high line. That is what I saw in the
Yeah,
game.
absolutely.
Playing a pretty high line, and they are one of the teams who had the most shots in the entire game week. I think it was more than 15 shots. They had more than 15 shots in the entire, in their games. So they are looking to attack, and and since they're playing a little high line, I am expecting gaps to be there in the back, and big teams when they're playing against Brentford will capitalize on that. Even the lesser teams would do, and so that is definitely one place we should our we should look to capitalize when teams are playing against Brentford. In terms of Crystal Palace, yes, the team is not fully fit. What I saw was they were attacking, almost doing all the attacks from the middle or the right, where Zaha plays. Whereas from the left, there was not much to talk about. So that is also something which people should know or keep in mind if you are looking to bring in a Palace asset at this moment.
Anjan, you want to add
Yes.
anything about Tony? Because a lot of people are confused as to what to do with Tony and how is he playing. He has blanked back-to-back matches, right? So
Tony, one thing saw in the match, particularly that Ivan Tony is playing a bit deep. He's like coming
playing a
to
bit
the
reserved.
midfield. Yeah, but still, Ivan Tony had around 5 shots in this particular match, and two were in, and two shots were on target also. So eventually he will score, but you have to be
It remains to be seen when he
patient
does
with
his
But
him.
form.
I think, I mean, when we are stating that he had 5 shots and 2 on target, I mean, we need to be a bit contextual about it as well. I mean, if you have seen the match, the only real shot that felt like going in was one from which he shot from outside of the box, and Gita
Box,
had a
yeah,
comfortable save, right?
yeah,
Guaita
yeah, yeah,
saved it comfortably. So as of
yeah.
now, he is not looking that much of a threat, or whatever his shots are basically from set pieces. which was
mm,
which was on target. From
mm.
open play, he is, as you correctly mentioned, he's playing a bit reserved, wherein he's
This
dropping deep to create the ball, and
create the ball
probably
actually.
Mbuemo is the one who is benefiting from that the most. That's what
Yeah,
I felt
true.
for.
Mm,
Right?
true.
I'm a little confused with Mbeumo as a option because I do not like an option who does not play 90 minutes. Oh,
Yeah,
he has everything.
that is the con going against him.
You already mentioned that, but yeah, he does everything, but that 90-minute factor is still something which is bothering me.
But probably if you're going for a formation change, I mean, I don't know. It depends again on your team budget and all. If he's your eighth attacker and you're keeping him on the bench, I mean, if you can do that, he's a very handy
But
eighth attacker.
but a 5.58 attacker does not make a sense, I
Or if
guess.
you're trying to fit in more than two premiums into your team, I think he could be a good
Correct.
enabler.
That is the only place, only way you can look at Mbeumo at this moment. Not me, at least, right now. Anyways, I think
Okay.
if you have discussed enough about the game, let's talk about one of the most exciting games of the game week. I think Leeds versus Everton 2-2. If I
Yeah.
remember correctly, I had predicted the exact scoreline in our last pod. So kudos to me.
Yeah, true.
But I'm not sure if I did, but most probably I did that. The
I think
brilliant Rafinha.
we have done a lot of, I mean, amongst ourselves, we have done a lot of correct prediction because as I was seeing the games, I was like, hey, I predicted that line, and hey, Ronjoy predicted
When
that particular score
when
line.
there is nothing on the line for us, we do tend to get things correct. But only when things are on the line for us, we will get it wrong. So don't worry about it. I think Leeds versus Everton was one of the most exciting games, like I was saying. DCL again looked a very good option, and even Richarlison is a good option because Richarlison and DCL are playing on the same line. I keep going back to my position thing, and so Richarlison, I guess, is still a good option. Uh, I read a crazy rumor today that Richarlison might be considered as one of the replacement options for Mbappe if he really goes to Real Madrid. So my gosh,
PSG. Yeah,
uh, a big promotion for Richarlison if does that happen. If that does happen, but at this moment, both DCL and Richarlison are very good options.
I
Uh,
think it's
for
too late in the window for Everton to even consider that. I mean, had that been upfront, I mean, if Richarlison goes, who is there to create for the team? Because they are not playing James right now. Sigurdsson is not available right now. I mean, it just looks, it will be a very disoriented team if that does happen eventually. But to your
but
point, as you said,
if PSG
Richarlison is
really
also
wants
playing forward with
someone, they
DCL.
do.
Yeah, sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, they're
Tell.
playing quite high up the pitch.
Yeah. So,
Mm.
don't you feel like, I mean, obviously, you guys have watched the team. It does feel like everything is building up towards getting the ball to DCL, right? He seems the man
Yeah,
at Everton.
Yeah,
yeah. There.
he seems to be the man. He seems to be the target man, and there are a lot of crosses from both the sides which are happening. So
Yeah.
Mm.
if you are looking at someone from Everton, DCL is obviously the guy.
Barring that, I think also Demari Gray has come into his own automatically. I mean, his gameplay has gone up. I don't know where this was when he was playing for Leicester, and then again he did not get that much any chances in Leicester. Also, a player to mention is Dukure. Dukure, I feel right now under Benitez has a bit more attacking role than he had under Ancelotti, wherein he is playing a bit similar to how he used to play in his Watford days. So he's getting into the box, or his two balls are getting into the box, right? So he has a good assist potential, and both of them are 5.5 as of now. No, not considering any of them for my team particularly. I need a little bit more convincing, but I think they are good options going forward. Anjan,
Yeah,
what
true.
do
I
you
agree.
have to say about Leeds? How do you think Leeds
Le-
performs? We spoke enough about
Let's. Mm, offensively, they perform well, I feel, but defensively, I feel they are still lagging behind. Might be because of their center back,
And that
Florentine
is the
missing,
Leeds we want to see,
particular.
right? And that is the reason a lot of people like Leeds
Mm.
the way they play. I think uh,
they play a
Klitsch
very
and
attacking
Rafinha
kind of
were
football.
again, yeah, I think Klitsch and Rafinha were again giving Bamford a competition for
Rafinha
the
was very
highest.
good actually.
a high spot on the pitch.
Rafinha was
So
very good.
all three of those options
Rafinha
are.
was very good actually.
I
Yeah,
agree, and I think
Yeah.
Cleach, Rafinha, and Bamford are options which I'm looking at. Let's see. Most probably, I'll be going with Rafinha, but still to
especially
be
if you look at
that
their
is
run
still to be
from game
decided.
week 5 till game week 11. I
11
think
or 12.
Leeds have a very good run of fixtures from that particular in that particular slot. So something
Yeah.
to consider. Rafinha, as Anjan was saying rightly, he did look amazing. I mean, he got his goal as well. He had six shots, two of them were on target. This is my just might be my hunch saying. I understand that we are likely attacking Leeds. I think they had a very on and off kind of a preseason, and after two games, I think under match time under their belt, I think they are coming together as a group, and I will be seeing a bit more dominant leads in that sense. I mean, starting from this game week, I do expect them to win against Burnley in the upcoming game week. So I think we will be seeing the leads that we have come to know in the last season. A bit more of that,
Yeah, most
right?
definitely, in my opinion.
Oops.
Moving on, it was a predictable scoreline and a predictable match. I think some one of us had predicted 5-0 for Man City. Sanjan, why don't you take
Me.
away Man City versus Norwich?
It was me who predicted it 5-0.
Okay, so you're the correct man to actually. I think I went with 4-0. I did not want to discredit Norwich too much, but anyways, how did you see the match?
Well, I feel Man City were all over the pitch for them. And this Norwich left side was very vulnerable. I feel there was no one on that particular side because most of those goals came from that particular side only. And
And
all
that's an interesting fact actually, because what I saw was Norwich was all Norwich's shots, whatever they were, one or two or three or four, I do not remember the exact number, were all from the left. So that is a very interesting fact that they were attacking from the left and they were also conceding from the left.
True.
yeah, true.
What I would say, I think I have a contradictory view on this. Contradictory to popular view, I don't feel Man City actually got off their second gear in this match because they did not look like a very uh, fluent attacking unit in that sense. As you guys have currently already mentioned, everything was from the left. What I would say was Jesus on the wing was sensational. I mean, he and Walker uh, actually created literally all the goals. I mean, and whatever goals they had, barring probably the Mahrez one where Diaz passed deep into Mahrez, I think all the goals were same, wherein Jesus has crossed in some capacity and somebody have tapped in a goal, right? So I don't think this scoreline is predictive of what they will be doing in the recent future, right? I know Arsenal faced them, and then again, I mean, another concern is as the left side was vulnerable for Norwich, so it is for Arsenal right now as well. But I don't see this bigger scoreline. I mean, not just generally Arsenal. Also, I don't think this is their first 11, and they are fluent yet. I mean, it would look like a big monkey off the back for Jack Grealish that he actually got his goal, first goal, debut goal in front of the Etihad crowd. So yeah, I think it's much more to gel. How did you guys see Jack Grealish as an asset option? I mean, what did you feel?
The
I
problem,
feel
okay, go ahead, Anjan.
I feel he is the most nailed on asset for City right at this moment. I guess City will play in and around with him.
He's going to be the
Your
primary
view, Ronujay, because I
playmaker
have
there.
a bit of a contradictory view to what Anjan is stating right now.
I think
You,
Grealish is assisting the assister,
mhm.
and I will be keeping off Grealish at this moment. My the players to look at in Man City for me would be Ferran Torres, because obviously Kane's not going now,
We
and
have a
Mahrez
section on
obviously.
Man City actually upcoming, right?
Or
Entire
you want me
segment
to
on
zip
Man
it
City.
for now?
So we
Yeah,
will be covering that. Just on the Grealish point, I don't think he's the best option Man City wise, although he probably is the most nailed due to his price tag. But then again, we'll look into it going forward, right? Moving on to the next
One
match.
very one just before you move on, one very interesting fact was that Norwich did not concede too many chances. So whatever chances they conceded, they got scored off. So Norwich are going to come good, and then maybe Pukki might be a good option when Norwich has actually started defending better. So
the Pookie
something to
party will
keep in
begin,
mind. Yeah,
Pookie party will start soon. You mean?
hopefully. I
hopefully,
remember
hopefully
the
not.
GIS. Do you remember the GIF, the Pookie party one?
No, I
They were
don't.
irritating as hell, man, but it was awesome, like 2 seasons back. Anyways, moving on to Brighton versus Watford. Not a match that I predicted as how it will turn out. Anjan, why don't you take us through it?
Well, Brighton had a very decent match. Watford were not up to the mark in this match. I feel like apart from Shane Duffy, Bissouma had a very good match. He was very lively in this match, and Duffy
Bissouma's
had yeah. Tell.
Bissouma should be a target for most top teams. He's playing fantastically.
I'm just banging my
Ultimate
head,
target.
considering that why didn't Arsenal actually go for Bissouma when it was widely rumored that he was our primary target? I mean, throughout the entire summer, we heard Bissouma is the first target, and there were a lot of photos. I don't know why Arsenal did not go, and they went to Brighton and they took Ben White. I don't know why Bissouma was not part of the conversation. Anyways, yeah,
You wanted a package deal kind of a thing. Okay. Let's not go there.
yeah.
Shall we move on to the
So
next game? Not much to talk about here.
I think I would like to add on. It was a contrasting performance from Watford from what we have seen in the first match, right?
Zero shots
They
on goal.
they absolutely look clueless as to what to do. I don't think they had a single shot on target for the entirety of the match. Brighton obviously are a very good tactical team with a brilliant manager in Graham Potter, but Watford, I mean, whatever little attack that came through was from Sar, and Sar was inconsistent to say the least. So
Unfortunately
suddenly,
for
I
you.
mean, the impression that we had in the first game week, what we saw from Villa, Villa match, I think that is a bit turned. It will be interesting to see if this is a home and away form thing, right? But probably they are not as attacking as we thought going ahead.
Yeah, I was very disappointed with what Sar did because Sar was one of the differential players that I had,
Because
and I
I
played in this
expected
game week.
a like scoring match from both end of
I
the
also
pitch, right?
expected a
And
score
it was not. I
then
mean,
goal.
not that it was due to a good save from Sanchez, and Sanchez was exceptional in the goal. I think he hardly had one save to do, but it was more down to what Watford were doing on the pitch, and they were not that convincing going forward. Anyways,
I
moving
think
on. Yeah.
I think just before we move on, we have to mention about Duffy,
Mhm,
4.0 option. Everyone seems to be considering him at this moment.
mhm.
I
he is
personally suggest
actually
just
now Duffy is now 4.1 actually.
Yeah, he's supposed
okay.
to
So
go up again probably either
4.1,
tonight.
4.2. But the only thing that if you do not have him, I'll suggest you hold off him because Ben Dunk's going to be back pretty soon. So it'll be interesting to see where Duffy gets fitted into, or if he's
Well,
shifted out of the team. But let's see.
I think what you mean is Veldman will be back. Dunk is already back in the team. He is there
Sorry,
in the team.
Veltman. Yeah, yeah.
Veldman in the is will be back, but I don't think the way Duffy is playing right now and how Potter is praising Duffy and he has added a height and solidarity to the defense. I think Veldman will be taking the position that Lamptey plays, which probably right now Motor or
But
somebody is playing. I'm not
but even
remembering.
Lamptey is back. Even Lamptey is training. So it's
Oh,
that is the reason I'm suggesting just wait on this for a couple of game weeks, and then you're gonna have a better view
you're
of
gonna surprise. Have a surprise being my team at the end. In that sense.
No,
I am not going to have
I
it.
wanted to say something.
Uh-huh.
The actually, I wanted to say something. Brighton fixtures would turn in few weeks. Their fixtures were very good right now. They would
Mhm.
turn. So, like, if you don't have, then wait
Better to
or
stay off
just
it.
go. Yeah.
But I think if
Sure.
somebody is looking at him as a Simicast replacement, we have to also consider the price, guys. I mean, he's not exactly a 4.5 or a 5 defender. He's a 4.4 defender. Right now, he's a 4.1 defender. So if somebody is looking probably to get some weeks out of him and keeping him as a bench option going forward, I think he's a decent buy. I mean, if you can
If
afford that comfort.
if he's playing, he's definitely an option, regardless of their fixtures.
I mean, I don't think anybody is buying a Ford defender considering him to be a week in, week out in the first 11, right? So I think he's a
Considering to be
decent
a
bench option,
yeah.
right? Anyways, moving on, Ronja, I think you should take us through this particular match. Saints versus Man
Which
United,
one is
how
that?
did it go? I have my own perception. I would like to hear about a fan thing.
So I think again United conceded a silly goal. We have this habit of conceding silly, stupid goals. There is no point talking about the foul, whether it was a foul, it wasn't a foul. The goals given, it was okay. Martial did not look lively. Greenwood, when playing up front, was sensational. He is going to be one of England's brightest stars, I feel. All in all, Shaw with two bonus, that was surprising.
That was
But
weird,
all in all,
to say
that
the
was
least.
weird, surprising, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
But all
That's
in
what
all,
that.
very disappointed with the game. We should have easily won the game. We did not. Our midfield, the duo of Fred and Matic were too slow. I think they did not move the ball as fast as a McTominay would do or any other midfielder
I
would
don't
do.
know
That is the
why
one.
the pairing of Fred and McTominay was separated. I think McTominay is
McTominay
really
seems to
good,
be injured.
but he did come on, right,
McTominay
in the
seems to
match.
be injured. Yeah. He did come off. Did he? I
I
do not
think he
remember.
came on the match.
But
Later.
okay, maybe. But what I heard was McTominay was injured, and that is the reason he may not have started. And that is also one of the reasons United should look to add one player in this transfer window. There has been a plethora of names which has been linked with United, as usual. We are the biggest club in the world. I mean,
Camavinga.
we have Kamavinga, Neves, Saul. Well, let's see what happens at the end of the day. But very disappointing game, at
You
least
are
from.
insistent on Bissouma, right?
Oh yeah. Anyway, any day Bisuma, out of the three, out of the four, out of the five.
I get that. I think
Brax.
Saints were really good in this match. I
They were better than the last game,
barring the
definitely.
goal also, I think there was a one-on-one chance which actually Adam Armstrong should have converted, which he shot directly at De Gea. Had that not been, the scoreline would have been different. And I mean, considering what we have seen of him the past couple of game weeks, his caliber strikers should have probably converted that. They were really good, but in saying that, I will also say this, that Saints were really lucky that, and FPL managers in generally were really unlucky that Bruno did not score. He had a lot of direct attempts. There were some saves. On another day, probably he would have had a brace or a hat trick again, but that just was not to be. Another one, a guy I would like to mention. I mean, I think everybody has mentioned him this week enough, but definitely Tino Livramento is somebody definitely to look forward to. I was surprised that when Kyle Walker Peters came in, he was not subbed out. He was actually moved on to a wing back position. He's just 18
Wingback.
years old. I think Anjan will be better able to tell us because he has come from Chelsea's academy and he looks like a real prospect. Another one, if you're considering a Simicast option, he's also 4.0 right now. And I think Southampton going forward
I
has mixed and decent picture. Anjan, what do you
He is
think about
definitely one
Tino?
of the options.
Yeah.
Before we go to Anjan, I think Livramento is definitely one of the options
Hmm.
because for 25 minutes after I think Walcott went off, or for at least 25 to 30 minutes, he was playing on the right of a 4-4-2 in the midfield.
Yeah, exactly. Wing back
Yeah.
position.
Yeah.
So he is definitely
Wingback.
one of the options I'm looking at.
Yeah, he's a very decent option.
Anjan, you were saying something.
No, I was saying that I feel like he is the best option in this price bracket.
After
Absolutely. I
He
mean,
Simicas,
is
I
he's a
also
the
very
believe that,
exciting
yes.
option. Uh, Considering I don't know if you guys watched the match or not. He had a almost a 70-yard stretch of a run where he was running with the ball and he crossed it into Che Adams or Adam Armstrong's path. He looks very exciting. I must say
Yeah.
this. I did not expect him to be a starter in this team, but Ralph seems to be trusting his young guys a lot, and I did not actually envisage him overtaking Kyle Walker in the starting position, but he is doing that, and he can also, as Ronjay also mentioned, that he can play in a midfield four as well uh, on the right hand side. So he really is a exciting option going forward,
And he's only 18, so good
and
things.
he's
Things are
only
looking.
18. Chelsea Academy players are really good, right?
So okay,
Is
since you're
that the
talking about
business
Chelsea
model of Chelsea,
Academy,
Anjan?
shall we talk about the next game week? Sorry, next game, which is Chelsea Arsenal.
I think
What do you think,
before
Shomnath?
Chelsea Arsenal, there's another game that went through.
Oh,
Just
you want to
keep
be
your
avoiding the game.
excitements on a hold to listen to an Arsenal fans
Misery.
whatever it is. Anyways, the next match was Wolves against Tottenham. It was at Molineux, and Nuno was back at Molineux. This particular match, what my impression generally of what I've seen from Tottenham is Nuno has converted them into a counter-attacking team like how he had at Wolves, right? Because both the matches, it was not that Tottenham was going for it; it was rather conversely Wolves who were going for it, and they have had again I think 25 shots in the match. They are the second highest. They are second in the list of the teams that have taken most number of shots, just behind Liverpool. Incidentally,
Five
they don't have a
shots.
single goal as of yet,
Yes.
right? And on the other hand, I think after the Delhi Ali penalty, which was again a big revelation, I think I don't think I do. You guys see Delhi Ali as being the designated penalty taker?
Kane's
No,
back. Why
actually,
should he be the penalty taker?
I think it's whoever
no,
wins
Kane's
the
no.
back. Why
penalty,
should?
right?
No, it should be Kane. I mean, Kane is England captain. He's the
If he is not
best striker
playing,
in the league.
yeah, if he's not playing, now we have new development where we know Kane will be there. But the question that was going around if
Yeah,
he was not there, so was Deli Ali higher in the pecking order and so on? I mean, I think now the discussion is null and void, definitely.
Yeah, I would still say it would be Dele Alli because he's taken the penalty, but moot point at
Moot
this
point
moment.
at this point, yeah. Anyways, yeah, Anjan, you have anything to add about this particular match?
well, I want to say Adam Traore was had a very good match, but
Oh
like
my God.
he's hmm, he had
He
around
also
four
seems to be a
shots.
target for Spurs.
Oh, is it?
Traore. Yeah.
He's one of the most
Yeah,
skillful guys who is absolutely the most wasteful guy also I have seen.
yeah,
I
true.
think the number of chances
He
that he creates and the positions that he gets into and the misses that he does from those positions is exceptional. I mean something, right? I don't think many people have to
no,
supposed
no.
big match of the game was we will not be talking much about Chelsea because we are covering Chelsea in another segment. I felt he should have matched Tuchel. Idea was basically to press with his front three, the back three of Chelsea, which did not work because the front three did not have any experience. It was Pepe and Martinelli. They don't really have that much experience. Saka was especially not tracking back, so people might be getting excited about Chelsea a lot, but also understand this. This is also a lot
I remember, yeah.
it's an injury or something. And the big factor I felt was the entire Arsenal team was overawed by Romelu Lukaku. And in that, they were literally ball watching that man, wherein they forgot that they have left spaces open, and it was eventually too easy for Lukaku. I would say, as an Arsenal fan, we are lucky to get away with a 2-0. I could have seen it gone. Probably Lukaku could have had his hat trick if not for a brilliant save from Leno from a point blank range, it would have definitely been a
Oh,
brace.
that was a fantastic save. I think
Yeah,
even Lukaku was asking his players, "Did he save it? How did he save it?"
yeah. So I feel lucky. I'm scared about going into the next game week against Man City. Uh,
But
Anyways, that's about it. I feel.
Arsenal's games do get
Sorry.
easy. Arsenal's game do get easy after Man City.
Yeah, they
So
do get easy. The
I'm
previous
sure
form
they're
from
going to
game
use
before.
that games to improve their performance and obviously return
No,
and
but
get some
as
points
a fan,
in the
I
kitty.
don't feel good that the first three match of the seasons are a write off. That we have to write it off and we have to think about restarting our season from game week 4. Anyways, moving on to the last match of the game week, I think this was the most exciting match of the game week. Before I get into West Ham and Leicester, obviously people know the scoreline. It was 4-1 in favor of West Ham. Antonio became the record goal scorer, taking over Paulo Di Canio, I think, uh, on 49 goals. So then again, Leicester went down to 10 men. But in saying that, even when they were entire squad on the pitch, I think West Ham dominated them. But the end scoreline was eventually a lot of reflection of that was due to the 10 men. And also the fact that Rogers, when he took away Vardy and Madison, he actually replaced them with Daka and Inacho, which was really surprising to me at that point of time that he is still going for the game. And after those particular subs, actually, is when Antonio scored his place. Till that point, Antonio only had an assist for Ben Rama's goal, right? So I think tactically he was outplayed by Moyes, and tactically he was wrong. He should have probably contained and thought about getting a counter-attacking goal. There's something wrong with their defense, Leicester. Soyuncu is not actually to his best. Amate is a horrible defender. Nobody should be actually going. If you have, think about an exit plan. Uh, that's about it. I don't see them keeping much clean sheet. Probably Westergaard will change the scenario. Anything you guys
Couple
want
of
to add?
couple of points I wanted to add. Westergaard's obviously coming back, so that's going to improve their defense. Also, the left back from Southampton who's gone there. I
Bertrand.
forgot his. Bertrand is also back training to improve the defense. I'll start to what you were saying initially about the should not have gone with the attacking option. That I really prefer teams to go for it. What I was
No,
very pleased
I'm not
to,
saying that they should not have gone for it. I am saying that the scoreline is reflected due to those attacking substitution. Probably if he would
yeah,
have, he could have contained the
that
scoreline. Yeah.
yeah, that's totally correct. But you would rather have teams like Leicester who have just fallen short of Champions League in the last 2 seasons go for it rather than not go for it, because that is the only way they're going to become a part of the big teams. Even with a man down, I think Leicester had more than 47% possession. So that's a testimony to the way Brendan Rodgers is setting his team up. And I think you also had. Did you have Harvey Barnes? I
I
think
did.
Harvey Barnes was also substituted early, but Harvey Barnes was one of the players
55th minute.
who was playing the highest of the pitch for Leicester. So if you have him next week, they're up against Norwich. Maybe for all those who has
That's
Harvey Barnes,
one of my considerations actually. I'm a bit confused about him because to me he looked lost in that particular match. Uh, that was again probably due to the red card, but then again he or particularly Leicester did not generally look scoring. I think from an FPL perspective, if Leicester is a team, as you mentioned, that are going for it, it is very exciting. So we can target that. Lead teams playing opposite to Leicester, you can take targets as assets from there. And Antonio is a beast. I mean, I don't know. I did mention this that if he is fit, he is fantasy gold. There is absolutely
and he's
no.
proving to be fantasy gold.
Yeah, he is. He will not stay fit for very long, but this is the time. If you don't have him, I think he should be your priority list right now
Hopefully, for West
of
Ham's
players
sake,
to get.
he does stay fit. I think we've spent a lot of time covering the game week. I think we should
Anjan,
definitely be
anything
moving
to
on
add? Otherwise, we'll move on.
No, 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 nothing
to
to
our
add.
next
I just
segment.
agree completely.
Uh, moving on to our next hot topic, basically. Before we started spotting, the news came in that Harry Kane has given the statement on Twitter that he will be staying for this season at Tottenham, and he's not moving anywhere, and he's looking to contribute towards the team. Uh, just wanted to touch upon this topic because I think it is interesting to say the least for City, as because they right now they don't have a forward option. Even if they do buy somebody, it will be too late and uncharacteristic of City to buy somebody so late. If they don't buy, I think Ferran Torres becomes a brilliant option going forward. A 7 or 7.5. I am not sure what his price is.
Seven.
7
7.
million midfielder who is playing as a false nine, and even Raheem Sterling, for that sense, playing as a false nine becomes amazing option. So just to keep an eye on that. We did get a couple of questions regarding Man City. I think it is safe to say, considering looking at their defensive stats, eh, be investing in Ruben Diaz or probably once John Stones, who have actually gone down in price, they are a safe investment. You can definitely go forward for that because they are again looking towards a 20 clean sheet season easily,
The
right?
problem for me with Man City assets is the fact that you do not know who's going to start each game week. So that is if there is a way we can predict that, or we can
I think
understand who's going to.
defensively they are much more sound in that sense.
Ruben
They have,
Ruben Dias is always sure. Yeah.
yeah, so he's less prone to rotation. Anyways, moving on to the topic of the game week, which is about Chelsea and Romelu Lukaku. Anjan, being the Chelsea fan, he told me before the pod that he will not be contributing anything to this particular section because he feels that if he does, it will be a biased opinion from his side. So this will be covered by me and Ronojoy. Generally, I think Chelsea have found their missing piece in Romelu Lukaku. They created a lot of chance last season, which were not really converted by the likes of Werner, Kai Havertz, Pulisic, a lot of them. Lukaku, straight off the bat, you can see that he is somebody who will not miss those chances. Needless to say, Lukaku had a very high shot conversion ratio throughout his entire career. I think it has been always been ranging around 23.5, 25%, right? So that is not the issue. The hype that is there, that what has happened once he has come back from Inter, is that his general gameplay, his creative part of the game, where he is holding back, he has his back to the goal, and he can receive the ball and create spaces for other players to score. That part has actually gone up, and I think
He was always good at that. Even at Man United, he was at the end of his
no,
career.
he did. I will choose to disagree with you regarding that because in Man
At least
United he was not really doing that. He was eventually just struggling. I think he scored 12 goals and he gave around 6 to 8 assists. I don't remember the Man United season that he played. But generally, I
his
mean, I'm
game
not just
did
saying,
his game did go down at Man United when Solskjaer came in. But
yeah.
these the point which you mentioned about holding players and taking the ball and then distributing. Lukaku
But
has always
he
been
has
a
actually amped up that skill because he was
yeah.
probably, even in
At
midfield, he was not
Inter
confident.
his game has obviously gone up, but he was already good at that, and he has built upon it. So he's now
Yeah,
a
he has
totally
built
different
upon
player.
it really. I mean, he's somebody who is. I would go on to say this. What I saw, I mean, it is tough to draw a conclusion from one particular match, but what I saw, I think he will have a season which is Kane-esque of last season, where he will definitely be touching around 20 goals and he will have assist in the double digits, right? A lot of question right now is regarding whether people should go to Lukaku right away or should they wait. So, what is your view upon that, Ronja?
If you are doing a wild card, you should definitely try and fit Lukaku into your team. But if you're not doing a wild card, it will be a little difficult for you to fit in Lukaku. And especially with there are a lot of other options which are available, like Jimenez. Jimenez's games is going good. Antonio is doing fantastically well. Even DCL is doing well. So, in short, I would say if you are doing a wild card, get him in. You can interchange between him and Kane on the big games, and you can score a lot of points. But if you do not, if you already have your team set and you're not using a wild card, and if you do find it difficult to fit in Lukaku, it's worth taking the chance, in my opinion, with the other options that are available.
So, what the question is basically, is should people wildcard right now? Do you think this is the right time to wildcard?
Not for
Probably
Lukaku.
around game week 4,
Not
which
for
is what
Lukaku.
most people
If you're only
probably.
looking to bring Lukaku in my opinion, not only for that reason, but if you're looking to improve the other segments of your team also, definitely a very good option. I was even thinking about wildcarding, but most probably I will not. But let's see, what do I do at the end of the game week?
To this, I would like to add on just that if you think about it, if you actually look at it, probably ever in FPL from Game Week 6 faced either Man City or Liverpool. I think Man City. So that is one of the best run, and if you can get Lukaku at that point of time, he will be a perma captain. There is no doubt about it, considering the fixtures. Right now, if you think
Everybody
about it,
will get him.
sorry,
Everybody will get him in game week
yeah.
7.
So right now, what the question of general mass is that whether to get him right away from game week 3 till game week 7 when that run starts. I think the only good fixture or only fixture that you can consider captaining him is probably Aston Villa at home. Barring that, I'm not saying that he cannot score in the other fixtures. It's just that it's a question. I mean, do you how many goals do you feel Lukaku will score? Considering if you see the run of fixture that DCL and Antonio have in the, I think you can probably put that transfer off. But if it's a price issue for you and if you can manage it without a wild card, definitely go for it. You are buying yourself a captaincy
Premium
option, a
striker,
premium asset who will be there for the entire season. There's no doubt about it.
but
Anything else,
obviously
Anjan, you would like to add? I think.
price has to be an
Yeah,
issue.
yeah,
Sorry,
yeah,
Obviously,
yeah.
price has
Actually,
to be an issue.
but
Yes,
I think
Sanjay,
there
go
are
yeah,
ahead.
other gain price, right? Right now, Antonio is getting going up in price. I mean, if eventually West Ham's run turns and you're looking to sell, you have already gained price on Antonio, and there are a lot of other people who are gaining price as well.
When that happens,
Interestingly,
we
what
will
I'd
see.
also
But
like to
at
add is,
this, not at this
sorry,
point.
yeah,
When I actually go and sell Antonio, but not at this point.
yeah, definitely. Right at this point, he is the player of FPS right now. So there's no point in selling Antonio.
I think Anjan was
Lukaku,
giving his views about Chelsea.
before
yeah, yeah.
Anjan gives, I would also like to add upon the fact of Lukaku's implication on Chelsea team. Other assets, if you're looking to cover Chelsea, Chelsea looks one of the best defense in the league. It has been the case under Thomas Tuchel. Uh, Probably Anjan can give us more insight into this if their fullback positions are nailed. If Reece James in particular, I think he has competition from Callum Hudson-Odoi. If that is not the case, he is a brilliant option. Left back position, I don't understand really what is happening with Ben Chilwell, but whoever nails that position, that is also an exciting option, right? Something to keep in mind. I think if Christensen continues to play, he is cheap. He is 5 and he plays for Chelsea. So if he should be a regular starter, he is a good getaway into the Chelsea defense. I think Rudiger is the only one who is probably confirmed in that defense. And yeah,
Aspilicueta also.
Aspiculeta as well
Good.
might be missing
Yeah.
out the odd game, but I think Aspiculeta being priced at 5.5 or 6, I think he's overpriced in that sense, uh, considering the value that he provides point wise into the game. Anything else to
Reece
add?
James.
Do you think Reece James will be a regular fixture in Chelsea team?
Yeah, I feel like he would be starting 9 out of 10 game. And more about that, we are now linked with someone else also. We are linked with
Kunde.
Kunde. So
Who
if
is a
he
centre
comes,
back?
then yeah, if he comes, he can play in that particular position also.
I think
But
He but
I
if he
he's
comes, he's
generally
going to
not the
replace
person who's going
Christensen.
forward. He's the right-sided centre back.
yeah, so I feel James is particularly nailed on. And I want to add one more thing of Lukaku. Like he is now short. Uh, he used to take lots of shot for a goal earlier, but after joining Inter Milan, he's like shot for a goal has come to 4.2 or 4.8. So it's a very good thing. he would score definitely 20-25 goals
Yeah,
in.
because Chelsea create more than Inter. Chelsea on an
Yeah,
average create 15.4 chances in a game, and Inter
15.4
does
goals.
14 and a half. So I definitely see him having a brilliant season FPL wise. I think we have covered it. I think another alternative option, probably if people do want to get into, I'm not too insistent about it. I think Mount becomes an option because he will be a representing the team and he does
Yeah,
have assist potential. So if that is the route that you will be looking forward to get into a Chelsea asset, you can. For me personally, I think it will be defense and Romelu Lukaku. There is no question about it,
true.
right?
Quite
Moving
agree
on,
to
I
you
think
there.
let's move on to our next topic, which is a lot of people actually had gone with either Ivan Tony or probably Wilson, right? So people are looking for a forward change, and we are not doing any particular price bracket, but I think we have picked the options that we think are the best right now. We have already covered Lukaku, so we will not be getting into it. In the forward options, uh, Ronaja, you want to take this?
I think,
Yeah,
needless to say, Antonio is the best option here. And for me personally, I do see Jimenez, uh, the fixtures for Jimenez getting better, and with an amount of shots and amount of attacking prowess that we see of Wolves, he's definitely in my radar. I am looking at him. One of the surprises for me, and we have listed it last in the screen that you see, is Armstrong. Armstrong seems to be one of the fastest players around in the Premier League this season. And if Southampton do well, Armstrong is definitely going to be a, a very big part of it. So Armstrong is also a good option. In my opinion, if you have to go for someone right now, it has to be between Antonio and Jimenez. And if you have them already, I'm sure you most of us like me would not have started with Jimenez. So if you're looking for a transfer, Jimenez is definitely one I would suggest. Without saying, DCL also seems to be the focal point of the Everton attack. Even all the crosses are coming into him. Even Richarlison's feeding DCL crosses. So even DCL seems to be a good option for me at the moment.
I will like to add on to that. I mean, as you can already see on the scene, Antonio is basically outstatting every other forward in the game right now.
Well, let's not talk about
He,
Antonio.
yeah, I mean, just for the benefit of the listeners, I will just read it out. He's highest for shots. He's the first in the shots department. His shots on targets is first. He's highest for big chances created for his XG, which is 2.76. He has a non-penalty XG of 2. Uh, he is leading in the big chances created, so there's a success potential as well. Barring, I don't think there are many people who are not actually owning Antonio or who are actually not looking to buy Antonio. So I think an option alternative to that, I definitely see Dominic Calvert-Lewin as a option going forward. He is matching Antonio in the shots in on target department. He is actually had more shots on in the box than Antonio, which is hard to imagine, right? So that is something that is ahead of. On point of what you said about Jimenez, I think Jimenez is right now ever present in the attack, but I don't think we still have the old Raul Jimenez back because that is probably because he's coming back from injury and he does need a bit of time to recover. I think Bulls fixed a turn from game week 4, so probably that is a time that you can think about it. Watch and progress kind of a approach right now. Right now, Jimenez is not actually producing the goods, although he has the stats in his favor. Something to look about. And if you're looking, if you're somebody who has Ivan Tony, and if you're looking somebody in his range, I think Armstrong is definitely a very good, exciting option.
I think
So he will definitely.
the
Sorry.
reason I'm looking at Jimenez is especially because of the fact that you see he has made seven key passes, so he definitely has the potential for assists. Plus, Wolves are playing a lot
But
of
Traore
attacking
seems to be
football,
missing everything right now.
so that is the reason I'm
Traore has,
considering. I don't even know
Traore
where
has
he's
to
going to end
really
up.
pick up.
Will he be in Spurs? Will he be in Wolves? We do not know. Uh,
Yeah. Anyways, moving on. Let's look ahead to game week 3, guys. Uh, we will just quickly do what we think about the matches prediction wise. Starting up front, I think the first match Not much to explain. It is Man City versus Arsenal. I think Arsenal will score in this match. I don't see City keeping a clean sheet. I will go with the scoreline of 3 goals to 1. Moving on to the fixtures of game week 3, guys. I think let's quickly do what we think about it. First match is pretty much straightforward. I think we have covered both teams extensively in this pod. Man City versus Arsenal. I don't see Man City keeping a clean sheet. I think Arsenal will eventually score their first goal of the season. I see a 3 goals to 1 scoreline in favor of Man City. If Mahrez plays, I definitely see him scoring.
2-0 for me to Man City. I do not think Arsenal will again score in this game. The one special thing that I would like to see is who's starting for Man City, what is their formation, who are the players playing, and also if Arsenal are slightly improving from their previous game weeks, because Arsenal also has a very good run of fixtures. So my eyes will be on them to see if there is an option there for me to pick. Anjan, what do you think should the scoreline be
Scoreline, I feel it would be a 2-0. Simple.
to Arsenal?
No, Man City.
Okay.
Even the most ardent Arsenal fan will not think that. Anyways, moving on. Next fixture, Aston Villa versus Brentford. What's your take on this, Ronaja?
I hope finally Tony gives us some points, goal scoring points. He has been giving us two valuable points for the last two game weeks. This is for me. This is the last game I'm keeping ink, so I'm also expecting some points from him. Uh, I think it's again going to be a KG affair. 2-0, 2-1 to Aston Villa, in my opinion.
Anjan?
What do you think, Shomnath?
Well, I feel it would be 1-1 draw. 1-1 draw.
I think
I
I
would
agree
also
to
wait to
what.
see. Just sorry, I would also like to see who are the players starting for Aston Villa and how they are. We are expecting a 4-4-2 when Watkins comes back, so that is also
Yeah.
something I would like to keep an
Yeah,
eye on.
definitely. There's something of interest to King's owner in particular. I see it similarly to Ronager, as he said. I see probably Brentford scoring a goal. I don't know if it is Tony or not. 2-1 to Aston Villa. Nothing much to add to this particular match. Moving on to the next
Okay,
match, I actually want your guys' view on this. What do you think about Brighton versus Everton? How do you see this match playing out?
attacking game, good game. I expect goals to be there in this game. Uh, I think Everton should be able to keep a clean sheet. I hope they are, but I also think that they'll be able to keep a clean sheet. If they keep a clean sheet, it's going to be 2-0 to Everton. But just in case they're not being able to keep a clean sheet, and Brighton do score, things could go messy. It could be 2-2, 2-3 to Everton. So Everton winning 3-2 for me.
Anjan?
Anjan?
For me, I feel like it would be a low scoring game.
Oh
It
my
would
God.
end. It would end like Brighton 1-0 or Everton 1-0, or it might be 1-1 draw also.
For me, I think Brighton is a very organized and a good defense. So Everton probably will not have as much joy
Especially at home.
as they had against Leeds as well as Southampton, their first two opponents. It's a bit tricky to call this match, particularly for me. I do see this either going a route wherein it's a draw, or I also see a scenario where Brighton can nick this 1-0. So I will go with a 1-1 or a 1-0 scoreline in favor of Brighton.
Next
Moving
up
on,
is Newcastle versus Southampton. What do you guys think?
yeah, I think Newcastle will be winning this match 2 goals to 1. I do see Southampton scoring again. I would love if they
Vincent
can get.
Brace.
Sorry,
He's talking about a
Vincent
Wilson
Brace.
brace.
probably. Let's hope. I think he's in a team, right?
Yeah, he is.
Uh, okay, moving on. It's one of the fixtures of the game week, Norwich versus Leicester. A lot of people are considering, or at least had considered earlier, as a captaincy candidate kind of a match. So how do you see? I personally see the Leicester winning this match 2 goals or 3 goals to 0.
2-0
How
to
about you
Leicester,
guys?
in my opinion. 2-0 to Leicester, in my opinion. I think Norwich eventually going to improve. but it might take the international break for them to get organized, work on little on their defense, and they will
Yeah.
improve. But this game's going to be too much for Norwich, in my opinion. 2-0 to Leicester.
I feel
Anjan?
I feel Norwich would score a goal at least. I feel it would be
Yeah,
1-2.
it's a possibility considering Leicester's defense. It's a possibility.
Yeah, I feel like it would be 1-2.
2-1 in favor of Leicester, right?
Leicester,
Yeah,
yes.
Okay. Moving on, this is a batch where a lot of people are considering captaincy option. We'll look at captaincy option in a bit details after this. West Ham versus Crystal Palace. How do you guys see this match going?
I think West Ham's going to keep their form up. At least 3 goals to 1 or 3 goals to 0 for West Ham. I'm again expecting Benrahma and the usual culprits, the Benrahma and Antonio to score. Uh, I am also looking at Bowen because he's playing quite. He's joining the attacks for Benrahma and Antonio. So I'm keeping an eye on him, but it should be an
Even
easy win for
Fornal. I
West
mean,
Ham.
I think Fornal played a number 10 role in
Ronald,
the previous
number
match
10.
to
Oh
actually
yes,
build up.
Fornals even, yeah.
Yeah. For me, I think it could be a match where Palace frustrates West Ham, but I do see West Ham winning this particular match. I would say 2 goals for West Ham in and Palace probably scoring a goal. Two
Zaha
goals to
getting his
one,
first goal maybe.
probably. How
I
Okay,
about
feel
you,
like
Anjan.
Arun?
it. Yeah, I feel like it would be 3-0. I feel West Ham would keep their first clean sheet for this season because I feel like Crystal Palace are a very goal shy kind of a team
Yeah, actually,
at
I
this moment.
also am convinced with that. I would like to. I think I'll change my prediction. I see this match going 2-0 in favor of West Ham. I also see West Ham keeping their first clean sheet.
Okay, okay.
Moving on, it's the blockbuster match of the game week. It's the Liverpool versus Chelsea. Very interesting to see how you guys see this. I'll start off
Very
with Anjan. How do you see this match going?
I feel we should nick this game probably by winning 1-0, which we did earlier also. So I would stick with that particular scoreline. Chelsea 1, Liverpool nil.
Ronajan?
Lukaku scoring again.
it's a tough game week. It's easily the hardest of all the games to pick.
Hmm.
Liverpool will be at home. I'm just trying to think what the scoreline should be. Chelsea's defense are too good. I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw. At least I think no team is going to try and attack and just want to lose the game just before the international game week. Both might play safe after 70 to 60 minutes if both are drawing. If one of them is winning, obviously things do change. But if the scoreline is same going into 70th or the 75th minute, I do expect them to not be too adventurous and play out a draw. So I think 1-1, but it can be anything in this game.
Um, it's actually a tough match to call. Personally, I think Lukaku probably won't have as much joy against Matip and Van Dijk. They will be up to him. Uh, but I don't see again a clean sheet for either of the team. I will go with a scoreline of 2-1. I cannot say in whose favor. I think either side winning it 2-1. I don't see this being a draw as well. I think there will be a result in this match and we'll go 2-1 either ways.
What do you think about Salah and Mane? Will they? Do you think they'll
Salah
be really?
historically has scored against Chelsea before.
Yes,
I
yes.
think being in the form that he does look sharp. So definitely there is chance Mane finally actually got his goal for the season. So a bit of confidence will be high. And I don't see any reason why Liverpool will be shy in that sense because they have also been quite dominant in their first two matches. So they will be going into this match with as much positive energy as probably Chelsea is. So it will be an interesting clash to see. I do see a result happening in this particular match. right? Moving on to
Fair
Sunday's
enough.
fixtures, we kick it off with sorry.
No, no, please go on.
No,
Oh, oh, Burnley versus Leeds. So how do you guys see this match going?
2-0 to Leeds or 3-1 to Leeds.
I
I
agree.
do, I
I
do, I do
say
expect
same.
Bamford to score in this game. Uh,
True.
so yeah, I think Leeds,
I agree with that.
Burnley are also buying a new player, a left wing, left
Yeah,
back
from
left
Lyon.
back.
who played, yeah, who plays in a multitude of positions. It'll be interesting to see if he
I don't
starts.
think
I'm
he'll
not.
be coming
I think he'll
straight
be.
away into the team, but yeah, something to look forward to.
Lorente
Anything to add, Anjan?
actually is the. So I feel like Leeds defense would improve. Lorente started in last match last night. So I feel like it would be a 2-0 to Leeds.
Cool. We all predict Leeds winning this particular match. I don't see it going any other way. Moving on, it's Spurs versus Watford. Uh, it's again an important fixture. A lot of people considering captaincy option. How do you guys see this going?
It'll
I
be interesting.
feel like it's a hurricane brace written all over it because he just tweeted today that he is because he would be playing for Spurs this particular season, and I feel like he would make a statement, particularly in this match. I feel it would be a hurricane brace.
Ronija?
2-0 or 3-0 to Spurs. Watford did not look very good in the last game. I expect nothing much from them at this game week. And Spurs usually, at least in the last few seasons, they've started well. I expect them to do that this time as well. And especially with Kane now sorting out his fixture, the team will be more confident that now the things have settled down, and it should show. It should show on the pitch, I guess. So 2 or 3-0 to Spurs.
For me, I feel Spurs have been lucky to keep two clean sheets back to back. So I probably see they might be conceding in this match. For me, a lot of this match's scoreline will depend as to how Watford approach the game. If they sit back, then I don't see it as a very high scoring match. If they go for it, I do see it as a high scoring match. I will go with a scoreline of 3 goals to 1. Especially now that Kane has said, I mean, if he's starting, then it becomes a totally different game altogether. So 3-1 for Spurs. Moving on, I think the last fixture of the match, game week rather, it's Wolves versus Man United. Right. I will start first. I see Man United winning this match comfortably. Uh, I would go with a score line of either 3 goals to 0 or 4 goals to 0 in favor of Man United. Oh,
I
sorry.
don't think it's.
I will not go in favor of a nil because Shaw does not ever keep a clean sheet for me when I have in my team. So I probably will score their first goal. So yeah, 3-1 to
I
Man
think
United.
I think 2-1 to Man United. Wolves Man United has been a cagey affair in the last few seasons. I expect that to continue. United will be pumped up, especially after dropping points last game. So I expect them to just nick the game 2-1 to them.
Anjan?
Anjan,
I
any
feel
thoughts?
I feel like it would be Wolves 1, Man United 2. Similar kind of score.
Similar to me.
Yeah.
Okay, now that we have
Moving
gotten
on,
this
let's look
section
at the
sorted,
captaincy options for this particular game week, right? So,
Yeah.
what we have done is, I think the popular captain choices this game week are probably rather Bruno Fernandes or any alteration of Man United in that sense. Barring that, if people are looking for alternative options, I think we have picked out Spurs being an option, Spurs asset, and Aston Villa since they are playing Brentford, as well as West Ham, who are on form team and they are playing Crystal Palace. So what we have done, as you can see on the table, we have done a comparison of these four defenses and their defensive stats over the season, uh, up till now. That is. So what you see is Brentford has conceded the highest number of shots, and shot in the box also conceded. Brentford are topping the charts in that sense. The standout thing, although, is Bulls, who have conceded the most shot on target. They have the highest XGC. expected goals conceded, as well as they have the least expected clean sheet number. So I do think it will be a comfortable match for Man United in that sense, right? Watford as well, they have conceded four big chances, right, which is the highest in the division as of now, and they have also conceded four goals, and this was from an XGC of obviously 2.66, but general gameplay wise, it does look probably from a Villa standpoint, the captaincy option would be Danny Ings, but I don't see particularly him being a very good captaincy option this game week, considering the alternatives being Bruno and Son. Personally, I feel it was 50-50 between Bruno and Son, but now Kane saying that he is there and he'll play, it will change the entire dynamic. Probably for me, I would say Spurs assets are the best option in this particular game week for captaincy. Uh, you guys, what do you guys think
Yeah,
regarding that?
Well,
I agree to your point, Shomnath. I think Spurs assets would definitely be the one to look for. Bruno Fernandes is obviously an easy captaincy choice and could be the most common choice. I am not very sure about Danny Ings. Aston Villa has not looked that great, and that is the reason I'm definitely of Danny Ings.
What do
For
you think
me,
about Antonio? A lot of people will be looking to captain Antonio
definitely Antonio is
against
definitely one
Palace.
choice, and definitely one choice, and it could be a differential captain because not many would go for him, in my opinion. So if you want to go for a differential captain, Antonio is your guy. Um I was looking to bring in Son, for this game week before Kane went ahead and mentioned all those things. So I'm quite confused. I would probably not
If anything, I think it
be.
makes Stan a better choice.
It
Kane
does make
coming in,
Son a
I
better
think it
choice.
makes Stan a better choice for the game week.
It does make Son a better choice, but I was hoping to bring him in and keep him. But now I will not be able to keep him considering his price bracket. In I think for in this game week, Antonio for me would be the captaincy choice, at least for now. But let's see. It also should depend on the press conferences and how I feel on Saturday.
Anjan, how do you see who would be your captaincy choice?
uh, my captaincy options would be Antonio and Bruno Fernandes. I would be captaining one of them. That's for sure. Probably I am captaining Antonio because he is the guy man in form right now. So, so
Yeah,
yeah.
I think form breeds a lot of things. I mean, that
Mm.
breeds confidence and that leads to FPL points. Definitely, he is one to consider. Uh, moving on, we move on to our differential and clean sheet section, right? So I'll just quickly read this. For me, my differential pick has been James Ward-Prowse. Anjan has picked differential as Deli Ali, and Ronager has gone ahead with Adam Armstrong. So we have both gone on with the same team, right? From the same team, rather. Uh, for clean sheet, I have gone ahead with West Ham. Anjan has gone ahead with Man City, and Ronager has gone ahead with Spurs, right? I think Anjan has an interesting contest that he's keeping tab of as to how many of our differential picks actually come true, and he's beaming from year to year because he's leading. Back-to-back game weeks, his differential pick have come good. In the first game week, it did not for me. Last game week, it did for me. I think Ronager is a blank for both the game weeks as of now. So you have to pick up your game, bro.
Don't listen to me, guys.
All right,
Differential part, especially.
differential part, especially. Moving on,
Anyways,
let's move ahead to our teams and our transfer planning. I think we will start with Anjan's team. Anjan, if you could
uh,
read out your team for people listening, what's
well,
your front 11?
my front 11 in my goalkeeper it's Sanchez, and my defenders are Alexander Arnold, Shaw, Eiling, and my midfield are Benrama, Fernandes, Salah, Barnes, Grealish, and my forward are Wilson and Antonio. Right now, Antonio is Antonio is my captain. It may change to Bruno Fernandes also, but most probably I will go with him. And one more
Are
thing
you
to
doing
add.
any
Uh,
transfer?
No, I'm not doing any transfer. But if I'm just waiting for the news of Habibans, will he start? Will he not start? If he isn't starting, then I might do a transfer then.
Do you have any transfer in hand?
No, I don't have.
Actually, he used his transfer in game week 2.
Yeah,
So he does not have a rolled over transfer. He only has a single transfer. He's rolling it over for international break.
yeah.
I think pretty much straightforward. Moving on, let's move on to Ronajay's team, right?
Mm.
And you do have two free transfers. So if you would like to read
So
out your team for our listeners first.
so Sanchez as goalkeeper, Brighton, Shaw, Arnold, Eiling, and Digne in defense, along with Simicas, who currently I have on the bench. Greenwood, Fernandez, and Salah to start. I have Gilmore and Sar on the bench. Tony Ings and Antonio at this point. I have to use a transfer. So at the beginning of the game week, I was considering Salah to Son, but now that I'm not going for that option. Uh, I have a lot of options. So one of the options that I'm looking for is Simicas to Livramento. I'm just waiting to see what is the news about Robertson. The other options I have is I can upgrade Sar to Rafinha and downgrade Digne. That is also one of the options that I'm looking at. Um, just before the pod, we heard that Kane's going to be staying at Spurs. I'm not looking at him, but if I try and do something crazy, maybe I'll try and fit him in for Tony and downgrade Salah. But that's the least of my that is the least of the priorities or the possibilities for me at this moment. So I have a plethora of options in this game week. I wanted to say I probably want to use one transfer only and then keep two for post the international games. But as of now, I think I'm going to do Digne and Sar to Rafinha and someone. I still have to see.
Who are you getting in place of Digne?
In terms of captaincy, I have still have to see. There are a lot of defensive options. I do not have an
Do
idea.
you have
If
money
you
in the
can give
bank?
me an idea, I would love to take it.
Do you have money in the bank?
I do not have anything in the bank.
You
No,
do
though I
not
don't.
have anything in the bank. Okay. So considering that you already have Ailing, and you will be switching the formation to 3-4-3 essentially, right? Week in week out. So I
If I
think
downgrade Digne, yeah, obviously.
yeah. So for that, I think Livramento can be a good option, or I mean whoever you fancy, because as of now, I don't think
Yes.
there are very uh, many 4.5 million defenders that I'm really impressed with or who are standout. Probably the standout picks are from Spurs, but then again they will be signing defenders, so I'm not really sure if their positions are fixed or not. Something to consider, I think. If you're switching formation and it's just for bench, uh, should keep money and go move for
I
Livramento.
think Livramento is definitely one of the options I'm looking at.
Okay.
Any crazy transfers you would suggest if I do decide to downgrade Salah? Because I have to
Should you
bring him
decide
back the
to
next game
down?
week.
Sorry.
So if I remove Salah, I will have to bring him back next week since the Premier League teams are not releasing the players for the red countries. So
Mm-hmm.
Liverpool play Leeds next week,
Leeds.
which is goal scoring. So I was considering a 1 week punt, Salah to someone, and then I will have two transfers in my hand. I'll bring in Salah and I will see. So any crazy ideas there?
It depends. I mean, if you're moving for somebody like Sun, I think Sun is a good option over the next two game week itself. Barring this, right now, probably there aren't many midfield assets that you can punt upon. I mean, I do believe you already have Bruno. Sun looks somebody who is probably a decent choice,
The
decent-ish
problem with
choice.
Son is that he has a very good next game week also, Crystal Palace. So I will again be in a conundrum. Do I bring Salah in? Do I keep Son?
I
So that
personally
is the
would
reason.
not downgrade Salah in your position. I don't see. I can easily see him scoring against Chelsea as well. So I would
Let's see.
not do that.
I'm just thinking about a punt there. But what about
Yeah.
your team, Shomnath? Tell us about your team then.
Moving on to my team, I must confess first, I have already made my free transfers as well as I have taken a hit. So in total, I have already done three transfers. I had two transfer rolled over, right? My 11 right now looks as Sanchez in goal, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Shaw, and Shane Duffy. I've gone for Duffy. I will tell you my reason for that. In midfield, I have Greenwood, who I was missing. I have Ben Rama, I have Salah, I have Harvey Barnes, I have Sadio Mane. Right now, the captaincy is on Mane, but that is just an auto thing. It will not be captain on Mane. And my front two is Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Mikel Antonio. Right. So I will tell you what my transfers were. I had to lose Matt Target because he was not starting. I was really frustrated. Actually, I got 79 points from only 10 players. I did not have an 11th player playing due to Matt Target. So I did downgrade him to Duffy. The reason I went for Duffy is somebody, he has 7 shots on target, which is the highest across the division for any defender, right? And I don't see that slowing down. Duffy is very lethal inside the box, right? Brighton is a good defense. I personally don't see Duffy getting dropped, even if Veltman is getting fit, right? So they will fit probably in another system. I don't see Lamte right away coming into the left wing back position as well. So I do see Duffy continuing, and even if it is not, I do have Ben White who has his fixtures turning from game week 4. So I do have a backup in that sense. I removed Mahrez for Greenwood because I did not want to sweat over the lineups of Pep every game week, whether he's starting, whether he's not starting. So I felt it was not worth it. I got his goal from Mahrez for in 15 minutes. I was happy about it, but I did not want to live with that. I think Greenwood, considering how Martial played, as you have already covered, I think Greenwood will be there in the team unless something dramatic happens, like an injury or something. I don't hope it happens. I think he's a good option going forward. I just had to go for DCL, although I don't think it's a good fixture for DCL probably. But I wanted to jump in on a bit early because I do see DCL rising in price, and he's somebody, as I already covered in the Lukaku section, that I will be looking at Antonio and DCL to make that gap away from Lukaku for me, right? So that was what my hit was for last night, right? Today, as of now, we are recording on a Wednesday night. So I'm actually looking to take a further hit. I mean, people might think I'm crazy, but I do
Who?
like to do mini wildcards when I'm saving to transfer. My other hit was supposed to be for Mane, right? I was confused, and whoever will be the hit will be my captain for this particular game week. I was confused between Bruno and Son, whether I should go for Bruno or for Son. Uh, right now, after listening to whatever you guys have to say and about after the pod, I think I'm leaning a bit towards Sun, but still, it's not 100%
The
convincing.
fact that we
Yeah,
haven't covered Bruno could, because we do not cover Bruno, we expect good things from him normally. That is the reason we do not cover Bruno. So I think that's a tough choice which you have to take. Yeah, definitely.
I do
Not
have two Man United fixtures in I mean players in Shaw and Greenwood. So I
But like you
do
said, Shaw won't give a clean sheet to you and to us
yeah.
as long as you keep him in the team.
But
Greenwood.com.
I also believe like Spurs has a good fixture in Watford. So I'll see. I'll
And
definitely post
Palace.
my team. Right. Anything else to add,
And
guys? Guys want to help me out regarding my transfer? Any suggestions? Who I should
No,
focus
I
yeah,
on
think
between Bruno and Son?
yeah. Actually, I see you have Harvey Barnes in your team. What if he? What if the news comes that okay, he won't start or something like that? That what
Probably
do you say?
that's why I've held on to that hit. If that is happening, then obviously getting him out will be a priority. In that sense, definitely I do become limited in option wise. Then I will have to be a bit creative. Let's see.
Okay,
no. I
you're
mean, I
right.
think you're already
I
covering all the
don't think he's
bases.
injured. I mean, in that sense, there is no need to panic.
No, I do not see any reason why he should not start. So
His removal was due to the red card, and I do see him, Iheanacho and Vardy starting up front for the next game again, especially against Norwich. I mean, it is not a very difficult fixture in that sense for Leicester. I don't have my doubts that he'll be starting, but then again, any last minute suggestions, guy, who I should go between Bruno and Son?
Are you planning to bring in Lukaku? If yes, then do not go for Bruno. But if you're not looking to get in Lukaku before your wild card, I think Bruno's the man to get into your team.
Okay. It's a lot to think about. I'll have to think about it. Anyways, thank you guys. I hope you guys liked what we did today on the pod. We are constantly trying to upgrade our tech part. We are constantly trying to upgrade the content that we provide you. Once again, please do like and subscribe if you liked our content, right? Especially do hit the like button because that helps us getting discovered over the YouTube algorithm. I mean, that's how the algorithm works, right? Anything else you guys want to add? Otherwise, I'll just mention the special announcement that I said that I'll mention.
No, I think
Yeah.
I also reiterate the same thing. We would love to have your views and your likes if you do like our content. And we are also I think we are also going to have a special pod next week to
Yeah.
cover the transfers,
So
which Shobnath will be talking
we
about.
are actually doing a pod over the international game week. I mean international break rather. We would be covering the transfer roundups and probable wildcard teams that we can go ahead. Why the pod is special to us? Because a very special a friend of ours, at least I mean he's special to us. He'll be coming on the pod, right? A lot of he is actually one of the back engine people behind this pod,
And
and
one of the brains behind this pod.
yeah, one of the brains behind this pod. It was his idea actually to start this pod. So yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be special to us. So do tune in. I think we'll be doing it over weekend because there's no matches over the weekend, right? So we'll be probably doing it around Saturday-ish. It's not hard and fast. We'll
We will
keep you
see. We
updated
will
on
see.
Twitter.
Do not promise things we do not. We
Yeah,
can't.
we'll
We
keep
do
you
not
updated
know.
on Twitter. Mostly
We
around
will
it
see
will be
about that.
around that time only, right?
Sure.
It's a good night for me, guys. Thank you so much for listening in.
Thank you, everyone. With a
Goodbye.